Good evening. My name is Chef Minetti, and tonight we're going to do a technique on how to stuff a pork chop. Here we have basically a center cut pork chop with the bone on. And as you can see, it's about a medium cut. It's not really one of your thicker ones, and it's obviously not one of your thinner ones. It's a medium cut, and I got these purposely so I can kind of show you that you can actually do with one that is this thin in comparison to the big fat ones you see too, which will obviously be a lot easier. Now the technique is quite simple. What I always do is if you look at this bone, it sort of has, if you look at this pattern, it's sort of an L shape. And I always try to do is start my knife in the back. There's a little bit firmer muscle back and through this part, in through here, because you can see this is pretty loose, and through here it's a little tighter. So what I like to do is I like to insert the knife, and you see my technique, this is basically like a cutaway. I would insert the knife, and what I'm going to do is a fanny motion, is I'm going to bring my paring knife all the way almost to the edge, and then back again, take it out, put it back in the other way. I'm going to come across this way and come back up, and basically what I'm doing is I'm trying to create a pocket. So here's the technique. Here we go. I'm going to put the knife in, and I'm coming all the way through. I'm almost touching the spine. I can feel the tip hitting the bone, and as I'm doing this, you can do this with your hand flat if you feel more comfortable. I can do it this way. I kind of feel for it. Have a really sharp knife. That really makes a big difference. And then kind of just saw it, and you can feel it. And don't go through the other side. Whatever you do, you can make it smaller if you have to. But I like to try to get all the way to the edge and then come all the way across and then pull the knife out. Now reinsert your knife the opposite direction. And now we're going to fan the other way. Same thing, pulling back and all the way up. And if you touch this bone on this side, that's fine, but this side here is where you don't want to open it up and come through. Now as you see, I'm going to have a little hole here. I'll show you the size of the hole. And you can pretty much get a finger in that hole at that time. You can see that. There's a hole in here. And for some people, that might not be big enough for them to get the stuffing in. For me, I can pretty much do that. Alright, another thing you can do, and I have this here, is you can take your wooden spoon, take that, and make sure that you got that pocket nice and open. You can kind of see the distance. And now I can show you. I can put my finger right here, bring it out, and you can see that stuffing's going to go on that far. That's about what you want. You can put it out here, and you can kind of measure it at the same time. So this whole hole is inside this piece of meat right now. And what I'm going to do is I already made a stuffing. And basically, you can do anything with the stuffing. This could be, and you can stuff it in. You can just put like fruit if you want in it. It doesn't make a difference. But I like to cook it down a little bit first and get it a little more savory. What happens to be in this is a little bit of apple sausages in this. There's some caramelized onions. There's a little bit of, I've got some garlic in here. I've got some caramelized onions, a little bit of sage, and a little bit of fresh parsley. And that's all in here right now. And this is what's been cooked. And I'm going to show you how I bring this together. And then I've got over here some breadcrumbs. And what usually I use the breadcrumbs, what that's doing is going to absorb a little bit of the juice and give it a little bit more of savory. It won't be so slimy. I don't use the word slimy, but that's not a good word. Mushy as it comes out. And this is going to kind of firm it up a little bit as it's cooking. It'll receive some of the juices. Okay. And then to make it a little more flavor, I'm going to add some cheese, a little bit of Parmesan, and then a little bit of Fontana. And what I like to do this for is because when you cut into that, it'll give it a little creaminess so that when it opens up, it's not that it pours out, but it's got a little bit more texture, feel to the mouth, and I believe that you'll really enjoy that. And now I'll just kind of incorporate that. This is going to be way more than enough stuffing for the that one pork chop. This is going to basically be able to, now here you could probably do about maybe 7 pork chops, maybe 8 pork chops with this much stuffing. And I've got Foxy down there licking the stuff that just fell out of this pan, by the way. So as you can see, that's pretty well incorporated. I'm going to put a little more breadcrumb in there. I can see there's a little bit more moisture. I'm just going to add a little bit more, like that. Bring that in. Okay, that's beautiful. So now what I'm going to do is grab my pork chop, open that hole back up again, and grab my stuffing, and just with your finger, just start stuffing that in there. Okay, this is pretty simple. I do it over the pan, so whatever I don't get goes back into there. And just with your finger, just push it. Okay, so as you can see, that's coming into there pretty easily. And how do you know when you have too much? That's probably one of the biggest questions everybody's asking. It's probably better to have too much, not enough. That's what I always tell everybody. But you'll start to know it'll start to get a little bump in the middle. And what you want to do is make sure, just keep on putting it in there and stuff it to the back. See how I'm pushing it in, getting it all the way through? It's going to take probably like about maybe a half a cup of stuffing per pork chop, something like that. It'll get a little bump in the middle, press it down, and then kind of squeeze it around. You want it to look the same distance. You want to not have a big old fat bump in the middle. You want it to be pretty much the same size. And you'll know you have too much, it'll start to come back out the other side. Alright, this one's starting to get just perfect. You can feel it's nice and firm still. As I press it, a little bit came back out. We'll take that back out. Now, the next thing everybody always asks me is how to seal up that hole. There's a couple different ways. The easiest way is to grab yourself a lemon and just basically take the peel off of it. And you hear you got a little peel, which is pretty easy. And then all I get to do is I just cut that. And if I cut that just right, that should fit in the hole, and that seals it up. And then what I like to do is sometimes just grab a toothpick, and I don't have those ready, but here we go, my wife happens to hand them to me. And what you can do, this is the easy way, and just crisscross this. Back, one this way, and one that way, and that will keep the lemon peel in, and it'll keep your stuffing inside. And then of course when you finish cooking this, you will remove these. That's it. And that's how you stuff a pork chop. Thank you.